stand for the benediction. We'll all go home here in just a moment. Thank you, Philip and Larry, for your kind remarks. And thank you for being here today. And a special thanks to Margaret Rodriguez and the Los Mariachis, who kind of livened your entry in here to the luncheon, and the Scouts from South Texas Council, and United Chamber folks who all make this happen. We want to thank you for being here and representing the United Chamber of Commerce. A healthy chamber reflects a dynamic community, and this looks like a pretty happy chamber group to me, and we've got a dynamic community, and I'm just proud to be part of it. I'd like to cover a few topics today, and I know you need to get back to work because we want you to get back to work so you can make some money and you can pay your taxes. So I don't want to keep you here too long, but I want to cover a few topics that will include some key accomplishments that we've made in the past few months since we've had the last State of the City address, some of the challenges that we're facing, and some of the goals that the council has set for us to try to achieve during this term. But before I do that, I'd like to recognize some folks here. First of all, I'd like to introduce my family, my wife Mary. They're down here at this table. If y'all wouldn't stand or wave your hand or something. And Justin and Ashley, one of my sons, and my sister, Virginia Moore, she's here. And Jonathan and Monica. Monica is a new addition to our family. She and Jonathan got married on Texas Independence Day, March the 2nd of this month. So welcome to the family. And my fellow council members, I think they're scattered out through the room. We didn't want to get in violation of any Open Meetings Act and be reading about it. Make sure you stand up if you're the city council where you are so they know you're not all sitting together colluding for anything like that. Oh my goodness, there. Well, I'd be a little nervous if it was a religious organization because it says where two or more are gathered, but since this isn't a religious organization, four of them's okay. Our interim city manager, Keith Selman, and city staff are here, and they're doing a wonderful job for us. Keith, I saw him somewhere right down here in the staff, so thank you for being here. And I saw Nelda Martinez, former mayor, over here. And Henry Garrett. For those of you that don't realize it, you're here in the Henry Garrett Ballroom. And let me just say, it's a real pleasure and a treat for me to see you, Henry. You're looking great. And I was telling him a few minutes ago, I came to one of these State of the City addresses a few years ago, and the distinguished mayor at that time said they were working on a lot of things, infrastructure and wastewater and sewers and all that, and he said so he wanted his legacy to be that every time you flush the potty, you remember him. Henry, you remember saying that? I think of you every time I flush. And I think I saw Debbie Lindsay Opal somewhere, and any other former city council people that are here, I want to thank you for coming. You didn't have to come, and you've been to these before, and I appreciate you taking the time to do it. I'd also like to recognize a real important part of our community for Corpus Christi and for our country, and that's our military and our veterans. If you're a current military member or a veteran, if you'd please stand, let us all recognize you and express our appreciation to you for you and your work. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And we have some of the key leaders within our military, and I'd like for them to stand at this time. Representing the U.S. Coast Guard, I have Captain Jason Smith, the Corpus Christi Deputy Sector Commander. Over here. These folks do heroic work, and particularly in times like Harvey, and they're responsible for a vital mission. And some of you may have actually received some of their service if you've been out in your boat and needed a little help. I hope you didn't meet them that way, but they're there for you. And I hope you had a chance to see some of the video coming in of what's going on at the Army Depot. And representing the depot is at the Colonel Gail Atkins and her team. They're doing a great job out there, Colonel, over here. She's got a great bunch of folks out there. If you didn't get a chance to see that video, you can go online and look at it at YouTube. They do a fantastic job of what is going on out there at the depot, and it's more than just painting helicopters, if that's what you think they do. And representing the United States Navy and the Naval Air Station Corpus Christi, we're very honored and pleased to have Admiral Greg Hi-Fi Harris, Chief of Naval Training for the United States Navy. Admiral, thank you for being here. And the commanding officer, Captain Phil Lou Brock, home of the Naval Air Training in Sinatra, and is known that, thank you for being here. He's the one that keeps our pilots flying. I don't know whether you realize this or not, but the Naval Air Station Corpus Christi is Sinatra, which is the home of the famous Blue Angels. They come here all the time, but you may not know this is actually the home of the Blue Angels. And you saw, hopefully in your visiting, you saw some of the videos and saw some of the Blue Angels. And Admiral Harris, we're glad that you took time to come, and we're glad that the Blue Angels are here. And we look forward to having them on April the 13th and 14th back here in Corpus Christi for Wings Over South Texas, because that's always an event that all of us enjoy going and seeing, and the kids and the grandkids, they love it. Now, Captain Brock, if you wouldn't mind standing up again, please, sir, for a moment. And I'd also like to call on Katherine Susser, Chairman of the Corpus Christi Independent School District Board of Trustees. I know you're here. There you are. I want to personally thank these two folks. They have been working together. The issue of where they're going to be siting Carroll High School came up, and I think they both realized that the importance of the Navy and the importance of education, and they want to work together to try to resolve whatever those issues are, and they've been working together to do that. And want to thank Captain Brock and the Board of Trustees folks and Wes Hoskins and the Military Affairs Task Force and their leadership, and we're looking forward to the resolution to where that final decision is going to be made, but we just want to express our appreciation to both of you for willing to talk and get this issue, because we support CCISD and we support the Navy very much. So thank you very much, both of you. And one other thing, the importance of the Navy is that Congress approved 2 new aircraft carriers for the future. So that means that we're going to continue to have air training here for the next several years, and we look forward to that with more service. And Captain Brock, I don't know whether you'll still be here when those carriers are down here, but if you're not, you come back and we'll give you a tour. So thank you for being here. What I'd like to do is talk about a few key accomplishments that we've had, and that we'll go over with you. This is, I think, a good report to you today, and we want to talk about some of the accomplishments. I'm going to let the county and the Port and the Economic Development Corporation tell about their impressive accomplishments and what they've done when they have their events similar to this, because they've all done great work. But it's a team effort, and particularly the team that we all want to work to be part of, and that is the team that puts jobs and job growth first. The most important part of the team is the great private sector businesses that we work with, which are the real engine for growth. And I think you've seen that teamwork is working very well for us. The numbers that we look to see how we're doing is the unemployment rate, and we've seen the number of people in Corpus Christi, the employment go up, and we've seen unemployment come down. We're at 5.2, and we're trending down, and that's a great place to be. We're in the right place geographically, located here with the exporting of natural products from both the Permian Basin and the Eagle Ford, and that gives us a very important ability to grow because of that transportation and that shipping of that product. Ken Trevino at the Workforce Solutions tells me that he posts 4,000 jobs in our area every day for people to come to work. So there are jobs out here, 4,000 jobs. So if you know someone looking for a job, or if you're looking for a change of a job, there's 4,000 of them out there, and we're looking for people. The challenge is to get a match between the terms of the locations of where those jobs are, the job skills, and we're trying to reduce our unemployment by another 30%. So tell people out there not to get discouraged. There's plenty of jobs out there. Just keep looking, and Ken and his people are doing a great job. But as you know the Chamber very well, and they've got a lot of good news stories. One I want to mention quickly and has to do with job retention. You may have seen last week we announced that Cane Beef had been purchased by a pretty impressive group of investors. And one of them includes a graduate from Texas A&I University. That's one of the Board of Trustees of Hillcorp Corporation. The Cane Beef will become known now as South Texas Beef, and we look forward to them returning their employees to work. And Ken tells me that they've rehired over 600 of those folks, and so when you can save a company and keep those people working, and I think they'll continue till they get back to their 700 strength, and we're very much appreciative of this. Jeff Hildebrandt was the founder and CEO of Hillcorp Corporation, and it's a pretty good size operation, and it's a well-run operation, and they've been named for the last 6 years one of the top 100 corporations in the United States to work for. So we feel very confident that Cane Beef or South Texas Beef is here to stay, and those people will have a job, and that really is a great deal for Corpus Christi. I want to talk a little bit about, you hear a lot of people about encouraging millennials to stay here in Corpus Christi, and I see a lot of people under the age of 40 living here in Corpus Christi. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and I'd like to spotlight a few of them. One of them is QSR Online. It's a remarkable story of entrepreneurship. Michael Cuevas is the owner and worked for Whataburger for a number of years, and while he was there, he was trying to think how to make things better, and he got into computers, and he designed some software programs, and they made a mobile app for restaurants, and they've got them going through the United States. I think you can take a look at the group of folks that he's hired now on his company, but they're not the only technology company located here in Corpus Christi. But QSR Online, they received a small amount of money from our 4A funding. They've met all the requirements. Demonstrate that small businesses can benefit from these funds, and these funds have been made available by you, the voters, and we appreciate that, and that helps our economy to continue to grow, and it's good that you get a report that the funds you voted on have been very positive. So we want to congratulate Mr. Cuevas and his company. Phillip Ramirez is another amazing young fella. You saw him a little earlier today. He wears multiple hats. He's currently president of the United Chamber of Commerce, president or chairman of the Economic Development Corporation. It's an amazing story. He was raised in our area, went off to school, got to be an architect, returned home, went to work for Jack Rice Turner, an architect's firm, and he owns it now. And that's quite an accomplishment, and congratulations to him. And if you take a look at the young folks that he's hired to work with him in there, one of them you might recognize was born and raised here in Corpus Christi. She happens to be the sister of one of our millennial council members, Michael Hunter, and that's Christina, and I've been told that she's the favorite daughter in the Hunter household. But Michael said, well, she's the only daughter in the household. But anyway, congratulations, Phillip, and your team for the great job you're doing. And we've got a lot of professionals in our communities, whether they're architects, engineers, attorneys, and others that are involved in the community. So when people talk about keeping the millennials here, I think we're keeping them here. We've got an area that appeals to them, and they take advantage of the opportunities they have here in Corpus Christi, and we feel good about that. We have folks in the hospitality. Devin Bakhta. Where's Devin? Somewhere back in here. Devin and his family moved here. They had modest means. Now they own hotels here in Corpus Christi and in other cities. And ZJG Hospitality is a company with a lot of young people. And you'll see that, if you can see the pictures there, that he's got a lot of young people. So for those of you that are concerned about young people leaving, I think you can worry about something else, because we've got a lot of young people here in Corpus Christi, and they're making a significant contribution to our economy, and we're glad you're here. A lot of others have started different businesses, and they've got a place for them. You see new coffee houses opening up, bakeries, restaurants, breweries. I haven't checked one of those yet, but those are owned by the young entrepreneurs. The Chamber of Commerce has so many ribbon cuttings. I started to list it as one of my new hobbies. Going to those ribbon cutting. I don't know how Efren's going to store all the pictures he takes at these ribbon cuttings, but if you get reimbursed on the mileage that you go, Efren, to these ribbon cuttings, you're going to be making a lot of money. And we've just got a lot going. Besides the ribbon cuttings, for those if everybody wants to appeal to the young people, that's what we want to do. If you know, we got ride share. You know what that is? I found out about what ride share is. Rental bikes, and yes, despite all you've read, we've still got scooters here in Corpus Christi. So we're glad they're here, and they're enjoying by a lot of people. And if you really want to get down and start training people early, and I hope our permit people aren't listening from the city, we've got Lemonade Day coming up here on May the 11th. For gosh sakes, don't go out and tell them they have a permit for a lemonade stand, please. But these young entrepreneurs, we're trying to teach them the importance of planning and building and managing money and marketing and all of this. And we encourage you to take advantage of that on May the 11th. Mr. Lemonhead is around here somewhere. And if you'd see Mr. Lemonhead to get you signed up on how you can participate in this experience, we would appreciate that and encourage young entrepreneurs, because us old folks are going to be gone one of these days, and you got to have somebody here to pay the bills, take our place. So in terms of new experiences and places that attract people, we've also got the downtown. And for me, being here all of my life, I've seen the downtown bustling, and I've seen it dwindle, and I'm seeing it coming back, and it's really exciting for me to see that right now. We're calling it the Downtown Marina Arts District, and we've had some facilities open up down there, the Cosmopolitan. We've seen a lot of new restaurants opening up down there, the Goldfish and the Bus. Now, the Bus is a concept of a young second-generation entrepreneur, a restaurateur, Ben Lomax and his wife Leslie. They're also big in the food truck business, another growing sector in our community. And if you haven't been down to where the old station, the old gas station or Peerless Cleaners is, if you're not familiar with that, it's catty corner to where the Caller Times is. That's where they have a big mural on the side of the building, and they used to put out a newspaper there. So, but it's right across from the Goldfish, and then the old Greyhound bus station is now the home of Bus, and both buildings look better than I've ever seen them, so we're glad for that. And Ben got his baptism into the restaurant business back from his dad, Brad. When he came to Corpus Christi, he started a restaurant, and now he's about to create the first oyster museum in the world here in Corpus Christi. And Brad is he is the epitome of the American dream. If you follow his story from the time he arrived in Corpus Christi and took an old transmission shop and turned it into Water Street Oyster Bar, and the rest is history. And he really is an inspiration, and we're glad he's in our community. And thank you, Brad, for all your investment in our community. In addition to what's going on downtown, we've got a lot of other things going on. We've got medical facilities opening up. Frost Bank is going to be opening up later in downtown this year. We've got a thriving art scene, a farmer's market that draws a lot of people down there on Wednesdays to go through the farmer's market and take advantage of seeing the world-class sailing and the races on Wednesday afternoon. We got folks enjoying the Bayfront, the Water's Edge Park. That's turned into be a real winner for us. The new beach volleyball and basketball courts Texas A&M Corpus Christi is providing. We thank you very much for those. I hope your tournament turned out well last week, or didn't get rained on too much. Or Ed didn't run out of desserts when he was down there watching volleyball, did he? All right. Well, and then for those of you that if you did, this year the Christmas holidays were just a little bit brighter in Corpus Christi. And it was wonderful to see the new Christmas tree down there, and HEB donated that Christmas tree. And if someone from here is HEB, we want to thank you publicly for that. And if you don't, tell them next time you see them, when you're in HEB, thank them for their contribution to that Christmas tree. It was wonderful to see all the activity. And I think that was probably the most photographed area in the community during the Christmas season is that Christmas tree downtown. And then Citco, I mean, you can't say enough good things about Citco. They also provided the peppermint lane and the tree lighting for down in Heritage Park, which was a lot of fun, and it really created the Christmas spirit. And they've just done a great deal of work. And Alyssa Barrera Mason, where are you? Are you here, Alyssa? Where's Alyssa? Huh? Are you here? You're back over here? if you don't know her, she's the Energizer Bunny. She is the director of the Downtown Management District, and they have just done wonderful things to help build and encourage and stimulate some of the things downtown. And she just recently got married, so if she's still got a big glow around her and her face and smile, she's just back from the honeymoon, and she's gotten back to work now. But she's a great lady and doing a great job for us down there. And thank you and your folks for all the work you do down there. And Paulette Kluge, what can I say about Paul? Well, I can say a lot about Paulette Kluge, but I won't. But she and her young team have done a great job in the Visit Corpus Christi and bringing folks down here. And I want to thank them for their work for that and what they've done during the Christmas holidays. I think it was really great. American Bank Center with their their country Christmas, whatever those, go down and ice skating. I didn't break my arm ice skating this year, and there's a reason for that. I didn't go ice skating. So I know better. But we want to thank all of those that helped with Paulette, with Carlos, Kim, Elizabeth, Kira, and all who worked to help put the visuals together and for this luncheon today, because it's a fun thing, and we appreciate the opportunity. Let's give them, all of these folks, a hand. We talk about the reason the reason I'm identifying and trying to tell you all different things about different people is because that's what makes a community, is people working together. And nobody in this community does it by themselves. And so it's just a big team, and I think it's fun to recognize people that from different walks of life and different things to do things. So we want to give you as a community another opportunity, and this is Paulette. So I'm going to give you a warning. When it's over, either you need to not be in the first 600 that leave, or you don't want to be in the last 200 that leave, or you want to be in the last 200 or I don't know. But Paulette says she needs 600 volunteers for the Fiesta de la Flor coming up. She needs 600 community volunteers to keep this festival going. And she said that the only door you're going to be able to get out of is that one over there, and that's after you sign up to help her. So if you could be kind enough to help her sign up and do that, it's a great festival, and it's a good thing, and we'd like for you to help her if you could. But let's talk about some accomplishments. We've done a lot in our community, and we've had some accomplishments, and I want to go over those rather quickly. And you know, as somebody that's been here a long time, and somebody says that, you know, McComb, you're a pre-millennial or a post-millennial. At least they're not saying I'm prehistoric, but we see a lot that some of the others don't see. And that is some of the infrastructure that we're doing. And I mentioned Mayor Garrett and infrastructure. Infrastructure is an issue that it's a gift that never quits giving. You've always got to be looking at it and maintaining it, and we've upgraded the O.N. Stevens plant and our distribution systems, and there's more coming for those of you that are interested in that. We've spent over $1 million to improve our wastewater plants and our collection systems. Did I say $1 million? I meant $1 billion. We've spent over $1 billion on the wastewater collection systems in our plants. That includes a new Broadway plant, because we have to keep our infrastructure up and running and functioning so that we can continue to grow and continue to provide the services that you want at the level that you want them. Now, given our abundant rainfall this year, it seems like the city did very well with the crews on improving some problems at Lavoya Creek. If you're not familiar with Lavoya Creek, a few years ago, you recall Lavoya Creek flooded, and all that neighborhood got water in their homes. The council addressed that this year. We got busy, got the folks to be working on that, and they've gone out there and they've cleaned that Lavoya Creek out. The water flow now runs smoothly, and the last time we had the big rain over here, I drove out there several times to look at it to see how it was flowing versus the water coming up. And it was flowing rather nicely, and it never got into the residential areas. And so Lucy Rubio was very pleased, because that neighborhood was where they got flooded last time, and that's where she lives. So I called her. I said, Lucy, you're high and dry so far. So we're making some progress in doing some things that really you don't necessarily see, but if you are familiar with them, it's well deserved. And Valerie Gray and her team City Engineer Jeff Edmonds. They've delivered for us. Look on this slide, and you'll see a number of street projects that were completed last year and are under construction. Now keep in mind, while we've gotten a lot of weather, that's good because it helps fill our lakes, but on the other side, it also slows down construction. And so rain has made it hard to get some of the projects done, but we're continuing to move forward and continue. Valerie and Jeff and all of those folks have done a great job, and we thank you for that. And we want to keep up the good work because people are really beginning to see that we're getting a lot done over the years. Coupled with the bond funds at the street that you approved in 2018, we're cash funding 3 major arterial streets and using some 4B sales tax money that's dedicated to some arterial and collector streets that was approved in 2016. These cash projects have already begun, and the bond projects will begin to move into place a little later this year. And I always try to mention to people that street projects are more than just pavement projects. A lot of people say, man, they put that parking lot in pretty fast, get a grader in there. We want to keep those moving. Our folks have been working and repairing existing streets as well as replacing and maintaining, and we'd always need to have some money for that. But streets have been an infrastructure thing that this council has been committed to over the last 2 years, and we're very appreciative of all the work that we've been going. And in addition to the rain, it not only slows us down, but it also, and you've probably seen just literally before your eyes, potholes appear as you're driving down the road. And I've got several neighbors that complain to me about potholes on my street, and they say, why don't you get the potholes fixed on your street? You're the mayor. And I'm saying that's why your potholes aren't getting fixed, because if they come out here, then we're all going to be in trouble accusing me of jumping ahead of somebody. So chances are your potholes are not going to get fixed for a long time. I may have to move. My neighbors may run me out. But they're filling an average of 800 potholes a day. 800 potholes a day, and they've been busy, and it's a job that just keeps on giving. But we're going to stay after it, and one of these days we're going to get all of these streets fixed. It's a big job ahead of us. But you're going in the right direction, and the good thing is that when you offer bond issues to folks and they've got confidence in you and they pass those bond issues with a 60% or better vote, they know and they've got confidence in what you're doing is the right thing, and we appreciate your support. And those bond issues, the last ones we issued, had voted on, were supported by over 60%. So there's going to be some more projects coming. I got an email just today. A fellow was complaining, why do they have all these street projects going? Why don't they just do one and then another? Well, the path we're on now is going to take about 100 years. If we did them one at a time, it'd be about 500 years. I don't think I'm going to be here 500 years from now. Maybe another 100, but I don't think 500. So you got to do multiple projects at one time, and we understand there's some convenience, but that convenience soon gives way to nice, smooth streets, and I think that's what we're all looking for, and we appreciate your patience on that because it does take some time. And we thank the Chamber, too, for helping us support those bond elections because you helped get the word out and educate them on what that was. And we currently, right now, in addition to that, we've got $261 million worth of contracts of all kinds going out. But before I leave the accomplishments, I want to spotlight one other team that's done a lot of work, and it's a lot of good. And again, you don't see much about it, but they do a tremendous amount of work. And that is, last year in our air quality issues, last year your ozone readings had been steady at 61 parts per billion. And the attainment standard is 70 parts per billion. And so our air quality people have been doing a great job of doing that. And this is a result of direction. Gretchen, where are you? Gretchen Arnold, are you here? Gretchen? Back here. Gretchen Arnold and her group have really been doing this, and she's been on it since day one. And because it really has an impact on our business and our industry. And when they had a meeting down here in February, the Air Quality Group, Kenneth Boyce, with the head of the EPA, Region 6 Ozone and Infrastructure Section, at their meeting said of the results, and I quote, were magical. And he said that he wished other places could replicate what we've done over the last 2 decades. And someone asked him, well, is there anything else we can do better? And Mr. Boyd replied, how do you make best better? So Gretchen, your folks in industry, thank you so much for this, because what this allows us to do is be very attractive to all kinds of industries that don't have to be worried about being in a non-attainment or contributing to a non-attainment. They're willing to participate with it. So, for the record, let it be noted that I agree with the EPA that we are a magical place, the best. And working together, we can make some good things happen. And that's what Corpus Christi is all about, so we're going to continue to do that. But they do have some challenges, and their attainment is a daily challenge, and we appreciate that. So speaking of challenges, here we have some. Some of our friends in state government, particularly at the legislature, are intent of extending state control to our cities and counties. HB 2, that you've heard of, referred to quite a bit probably since the legislature started, is a property tax bill. That's just one of the bills that's aimed at the state that's usurping local control. It sounds good, purporting to reduce your taxes. Well, we'll see about that. But what it proposed to do is to limit the amount of taxes that you could increase. But the problem is that all cities aren't created equal. And so let me just give you one example in Corpus Christi. In Corpus Christi, for example, we have a homestead exemption. Now remember, these are homestead exemptions that are gifts that you get that you don't have to pay your taxes on, right? That's a freebie, right? I'll tell you. You have a homestead exemption. Oh, that's wonderful. Homestead and an over 65 homestead exemption. Oh, that's great. I like that. Disabled, and we have valuation frozen for homeowners over 65. The state mandates another exemption for veterans and first responders. But all of these free gifts or these deductions away from taxes, there's a price to pay. But not all cities provide that local option for homeowners, but Corpus Christi does. We're a very generous community. But you may not, and once you've instituted that over 65 freeze, you can't rescind it. So once it's on the books, those dollars are gone forever. And you can see on this chart what it may do. So take a good look at the slide. All these deductions that you get, the homestead exemption, the over 65 homestead exemption, that's all wonderful and good, and all of us take advantage of them and we like them. But what that translates into is that your tax rate that you have today, if you didn't have those exemptions, would be 11 cents less. So you're paying 11 cents to get those deductions. And that has an impact on how we do our business. Now, not every community has that. I'm not advocating doing away with it, but you need to understand the impact of those deductions and what it does to us as we try to do our budget. So this is just one example of how city finances can differ, but they're trying to put a cookie-cutter program along the whole state. We'll see what the legislators do. There's a lot of discussion, and we've all been up there talking about that, and we'd like to get your help because we get mandates from the feds and we get mandates from the state, but they don't send much money with them to try to implement them and to pay for them, and so that adds to you as the local taxpayer. So we need your help to reach out to the legislators and the governor and ask them to really just put in the saddles the guys that are driving the horses, and that's your local elected officials. And you get a chance every 2 years to get rid of them if they're not doing what you want. And if we don't do what you want, you get a chance to put somebody else in the saddle and ride the horse down the road a little further. So anything that usurps local authority, really, in my opinion, is not good for any one city in the state of Texas. Every city is different, and your local elected officials, both at the county and the state and the city level, really are the closest to you. You can see them everywhere you go, Whataburger, H-E-B, Stripes, wherever you go, you run into them. And so it's you get a chance to talk with them. So we'd appreciate you sharing that information with the legislators and the governor, because nobody likes to pay taxes. And I'll tell you a little secret: I don't like writing a check to the tax collector any more than you do. And I hold mine until January the 31st, and I go to the post office over on Nueces Bay because they pick up mail late, but I can still get it stamped on the right date. And so I go over there about 5:30. I think the last pickup's 7 o'clock or something. So it comes in with a January 31st stamp on it. I've written my check probably in November, but I've held on to that money all that time because I just have a tough time turning that money loose. And so I can assure you, those on the city council, that I don't know that there's, I'll try to be not tightwad as I am, but we're very conscious of your tax dollars, and we try to spend them wisely and not wastefully. And we've got some other issues that we're having to deal with in our cities that I wish we had a pot of money for. But House Bill 2 could be significant to us if it passes, and we're not quite sure the impact that's going to be. Now, the new council members, like I was last term, they've come in, they think we've got a pot of gold, and we look for, with great hope. You think it's somewhere, there's some substantial money hidden in a closet or somewhere, but we find out really there's no gold at the end of the rainbow. We've done pretty good with the funds that we have, and we're trying to do the best we can. One example that most cities are facing that we really don't have much fundage with, and we get minimal support from the state, is the issue of homelessness, including the drug and alcohol dependency and the mental health of the people in that population. Like other large cities, we have it in ours. You've seen it. It's not a pretty sight. We all realize it's a problem, and we've got to deal with it, and hopefully we can come up with a solution sooner than later. But we've got public safety people working on it, city staff, businesses, medical community, religious and other nonprofits addressing this on an hourly basis. But it's not an easy problem to solve, but we're going to continue to work on it. And speaking of public safety, this is going to be a key over the next 2 years for our council. Public safety, we're going to be involved with renegotiating our contracts with the fire and police unions. We have great police officers, firefighters, EMS personnel, but I think all of us have to come to the table with a realization of realistic expectations and affordabilities. We need to look at innovative ways to employ technology rather than just add uniform officers. Police Chief Markle and Fire Chief Rocha, they're always looking out for better ways to help businesses and individuals in home security and safety, and they're on the hunt all the time for innovative approaches to keep us safe, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you both chiefs for what you do for our community and your staff. But we're going to have to work through ways to reduce the cost of insurance and be realistic in our compensation plans. While promising something in a contract, it's politically popular, it's really not fiscally responsible. And so we're going to negotiate in good faith and hopefully working together as we've done on so many other projects through the community. We're going to come up with a contract that everybody's going to be happy with and is within our means so that we can continue to provide our service, good quality service of our first responders as well as other services to people in the community that you ask for all the time. I want to mention one of the challenges that we had last year, but I think we're getting a handle on it. As you know, computers and computer software are great when they work right, but when they don't, they're life's most annoying instruments of torment. And we apologize to the customers for they experienced problems with their utility bills over the last year. And we want to assure you that we went to work on it as soon as we realized what a problem it was. The first two complaints, we heard them. We've got a wonderful community, thousands and thousands of good people, and we've got a couple of grumps. So we figured, well, a couple of complaints, okay. But when it crescendoed up, we realized this just isn't your everyday problem. We've got a real problem, and we went to work to find it. And so we want to try to get that problem solved. We apologize to the customers for it. We've got those bills resolved, and we're looking at rate structures to be competent with that, to restructure those. But our staff under interim manager Keith Selman, Constance Sanchez and Peter Collins, and the whole staff and other folks up there have been working diligently to solve this problem, and I think that we've got it 99% under control. And we should have it completely solved within probably the next 30 to 60 days. They're running some tests on some additional programs, but we we admitted we had a problem. We got some people in to fix it, and I think we've moved forward, and we appreciate your patience on it. But if for some reason you do get a bill that you've got a question on, certainly feel free to contact the city, and we'll work with you to get that resolved. Our interest is being delivering you first-class service, both in the products that we're producing for you and in the customer service that we're providing for you. And this brings me to another exciting challenge, task that we've got ahead of us, and you've heard a lot about recently, and that is we're in the process of searching to find us a new city manager for our 3,000 employees and almost $900 million city budget. But make no mistake, the job of city manager is a tough assignment. Your city council recognizes this as one of the most important decisions, if not the most important decision that we're going to make. The recruiting firm that we hired to help us in this search process received applications from across the United States and as far away as Canada. We now have 6 candidates being considered. Early in the process, one applicant withdrew because they didn't want their name made public so early in the process and to protect their employment where they were, and we recognized and appreciated that. Some other people didn't. We'll be narrowing the list down, and we'll be bringing a group of finalists to Corpus Christi for in-person interviews and a couple of community events that we want to invite you to come down and meet those applicants, have a chance to visit with them, kind of get an idea, sense how they are in the social setting, and then gain some feedback from you, because this is your city and we want you to have some input into that selection process, but the ultimate decision is going to rest with the council, and so we want to be as informed as we can, and we've got to make sure that we separate the fact from the fiction, because we all know we live in a day that the accusation means you're guilty, and that's just not the case. So we want to make sure that all the information we have is accurate, and try to decipher what is right and what is wrong and what is accurate and what is not. So we'd appreciate your patience with us. This council is committed to doing what's right, not necessarily doing it fast. And so we appreciate your patience, and in the interim, I think Mr. Selman and the staff that they have here is, we haven't missed a lick at the city. We're continuing to do the projects, and I commend them for that and appreciate their effort through this interim period. But one of these days we're going to get back to full steam ahead, and we'll have this problem behind us. So I thank you for that. And quickly, let me just touch on the 3 goals that the council decided on here relatively soon. Quickly, that we had our session. I'll talk fast because we need to get out of here. The first was we didn't identify streets and sewer in the past because we've already done that, and we've got programs that are moving forward. But development services, we've heard a lot of complaints, a lot of concerns about development services, and one of our goals is that we want to streamline that process to make it more understandable, more consistent, more transparent. Everybody likes the word transparent. And we want folks to feel like they're being treated as customers when they come to get services or have questions or have permits, and they need information. And so we're working on development services. And the other thing we've heard a lot about is that we are interested in our public safety, and we want to make sure we're completely committed to providing you good public service, public safety, and fire and police and EMS, and to set up a program as we move through the years ahead, that we establish a program and a process that each year that we will address those personnel needs and try to meet those staffing levels that will continue to give you first-class response, and set that up in a program so that it just doesn't come up as a surprise every budget process, and we're going to continue to work on that. Third, they said we have to be visionary, and we think, as a council, we think we're being pretty visionary in the way we're approaching our water supply. Our goal is that we want to secure a non-interruptible source of water, and we want to get that program up and running, and we're in the process of doing that. But right now, our water supply is dependent upon what falls out of the sky. Some of the industry leaders back in 2010 through 14 said we've got to address our long-term water supply. And so we began to do that. We've been working with EDC, the Port, San Patricio Water District, over the last couple of years, Port Industries. All these people have been working together to address our water problem. The Port Industries folks have really stepped up to the plate, and we've designed a program to where they have voluntarily, willingly said they would add a little bit to their monthly bill to put into a fund that is dedicated to accumulate approximately $150 million over the next few years that are going to pay for the additional water supply or supplies, and to pay for that expense to go out and secure that and figure that out what it is. What we believe and are convinced that saltwater desalinization is going to play a real role in the future water supply of our community. We're on track to site 2 facilities this year and submit those for permit applications, and that we'll have those ready to go at the proper time when a committee decides. And our goal this year is to have a committee set up that decides on when we will pull the trigger to build those 2 desal plants. You don't want them to build them too early, and you don't want to build them too late. So we're going to have a committee looking at all the historical data as when we think we may need them, so that when we pull the trigger to build them, they'll be ready and online when that drought hits, and no one has to worry about water, and we've solved that problem. So those really are the 3 things that we're really wanting to work on in our city, and I think we've done yeoman's work, and you try to get as much done in 2 years as you can, and I appreciate the council's willingness to work together. We're focused on doing what's best for the community. And I've skimmed over a few great things. I'll just remind you, you see them as you drive around every day, and that is the new Harbor Bridge under construction. And just like a mushroom, every day it gets a little higher, and there's a new piece goes up, and it's kind of fascinating. Hoping somebody, Flatiron Regattas or somebody's got some time-lapse cameras following this thing, because it'd really be fun to see. But it's a massive undertaking, and they're doing a great job. You're going to have some more traffic issues here for the next several months, which is good. Well, it'll be bad that you have the congestion, but it's good because TxDOT is going to be continuing to make some major improvements on SPID for the next 12 to 24 months, which is going to cause some congestion, but it's all for the good. Just be patient. Corpus Christi is a very patient community, if you haven't noticed. Nobody loses their temper around here very often. Everybody just kind of lays back when we drive and just kind of wave at everybody, and nobody's in a hurry. But be patient with us. We are making streets better, and they are getting smoother. We've got great attractions in Corpus Christi, the Texas State Aquarium, the USS Lexington, new developments all over town, and each council member could talk probably 30 minutes or longer on all the activities that are going on in their particular districts. It's an exciting time to be in Corpus Christi. AEP, I want to mention this for a couple of reasons. One, they've finally got them a new service center over off the Crosstown Expressway. If you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful facility. They've also built one out in the northwest end of town. Their AEP is a great community partner, and again, publicly want to thank AEP for their quick response during Hurricane Harvey and all the days since for all the work. So if you're associated with AEP, wherever you are, Ken, I think you were here, somebody, but on behalf of the City of Corpus Christi, we want to say thank you to you for your investment in our community and your responsiveness to all our needs during the hurricanes and normal times. So thank you very much. Well, I believe, and I hope you agree, that the future of Corpus Christi is bright. There's a lot of good vibrations going on in our community, and I'm just glad to be part of it. We do live in a wonderful, magical place. If you take time and slow down a little bit, you go down and look at the bay when the sun sparkles on the water, or when the sailboats are out racing around on Wednesday or any other time they're out there. Go to the parks, go to the beach, and then you wonder how many people around the country would love to be in a situation that you and I are in here in Corpus Christi, that when you get off work, you're on vacation almost. It's really kind of a great place to live, and it's exciting, and we're looking forward to it, and to be able to have all these experiences this close at hand. But what really makes it a good place to live, in my opinion, it's not the wonderful places that we got to go, the beautiful surroundings, or the wonderful economic opportunities that we have, but it's you, the people of Corpus Christi. And that was another reason I wanted to recognize as many people as we could, because we're just a collection of folks trying to do the right thing. And if we all work together and row in the same direction, we're going to accomplish a lot. And so I think we're stronger together than we are out fussing and fighting. So as mayor, we're going to declare there's no more fussing and fighting in the community, and that we're going to be moving forward. But it's a wonderful place to live. We've got different cultures, different ideas, traditions, views, but we all come together as a community, and that's what makes it you as an important part of this community. I do believe that we've got a lot of good vibrations going on. I think I've mentioned that, but I'm sincere about it. I'm looking forward to it, and I just want to tell you that I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate you allowing me to be your mayor, and it's really an honor to serve you. Drive safely when you go home. Thank you. Love Corpus Christi. You're not going to have any more announcements. Meeting adjourned.